Hey Rick, your team went all the way up to number 2 in the Western Conference. What does that mean to you and to this franchise to be ranked so high this early in the season?
You know, I'm not looking at that stuff. We're looking at today's game, and we'll look at tomorrow's game, and then we'll go from there. You know, we had a favorable schedule, certainly over the first 15 games. We did an okay job with that. We've gotten on a run since then, and which is great. But we just gotta stay in the grind, not worry about that stuff.
Rick, as a follow-up to that, I know you mentioned not only just staying in the grind then, but you also talked about staying humble. I've heard you say that a couple of times this week. How do you balance those feelings and focusing on what you need to focus on with the fact that this is a very exciting, energizing time? It must be that way for you. It clearly is for everybody around the organization right now. How do you balance those two sort of competing feelings and emotions?
Well, I love the team. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I love the guys. I love the makeup of the team. I love the way that the roster fits together. You know, but we've got to find some things to focus on to help us get better overall. For instance, you know, we were ranked as low as 22 on defense. You know, coming off the second New York game. And we made a stronger commitment to defense coming off of that. Spent more time with it on practice. Got more detailed with game planning and prep. And really have just, you know, talked about the importance of it. So during this 10-game stretch since the second New York game, we're ranked 8th in defense. You know, we're a couple of thousandths of a point behind Indiana, who's 7th. But we got to try to get to 7th, and we got to try to keep moving up in defense. If we can do that, it helps every part of our game, and it positions us much better to have, you know, long-term success in the season. So that's how I believe we have to approach this. You know, with you know, bringing forward challenges like that, and look. It's great to be winning games more consistently than the last 3 years. That was the goal. But we just got to keep our eye on the ball.
In your last 4 games, you've overcome double-digit deficits. Obviously, it's not a habit.
Yeah, and that's not a good way of playing either.
Yeah. Have you seen a common denominator in those falling behind?
You know, stretches of inconsistent play. I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, we're not trying to play bad, but it's a hard league. You know, we had a pretty good start against Minnesota, and then it got sloppy. We didn't finish the half well, and that was a big problem. You know, was it 14-3 to end the half? You know, had to talk about it, regroup in the locker room, and you know, and just come out and try to work the second half better. And, you know, we did a little better in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, we had some guys really step up, you know. So, but that's a game that just can go the other way very easily, you know. Kleber doesn't hit a couple threes. Brunson doesn't have a big quarter, you know. So it's all very tenuous. And so I just think, you know, patting ourselves in the back right now is not the way to go.
You mentioned how much you love this team. How does the focus and maturity of this younger team maybe compare to or better with teams you coach early in your tenure?
Well, it's evolving. We're not there yet. You know, we're certainly getting better as games go along. But that's one of the exciting things about this group that I think everybody recognizes is there's still a lot of room for getting better and and tightening things up and so on and so forth. You know, turnovers were a huge problem early in the year. We've done much better with that, and so that's just, you know, that's an area that's important. Rebounding is another area that's really important. We've been bad the last 3 years. We've gotten better. I think we're now on average, out-rebounding the opponent slightly. But that's a huge stat. That's possessions, and it's just like the turnover thing, you know. So the more we can do that and inch up in those statistical areas, you know, it's going to help us.
Rick, having played New Orleans now twice in the first 6 weeks of the season, what's been the common denominator in your wins in the 2 games against them that you would need to replicate today?
Well, you know, we were able to put together stretches in those games where we had defensive traction, but we never had really consistent traction from start to finish. But they're a great offensive team. I mean, you know, with Holiday and Ingram and Redick out there, you know, they have a lot of guys that can hurt you. They have a lot of other playmakers. Ball is, to me, an underrated player. Hayes is really coming on. You know, I don't know what the situation is with Favors.
Out again today.
He's out again today. You know, they just got a lot of guys that can score the ball. I love the way they move it. Offensively, they share it, they drive it, they shoot it. They're top 4 in three-point shooting. You know, they're a hard team to get under control. And you got to score against them, because if you don't outscore them, you don't win the game. I think, you know.
That's well said.
Yeah, but it's harder to score if you're not stopping them. And you know, we had, I don't know how far we were down in that first game. We were down 16, and then you know, the game on Tuesday we were down, what was it, 11, 10 or 11, whatever it was. You know, and this is a hard game today.
Rick, you mentioned the Knicks game. How important was that game to kind of bring the team together, or was it the loss in New York?
You know, it was pretty clear after the game we needed to shore up some areas, and look, the players are the ones that ultimately do the work on the floor. So, you know, our improvement in defense is a credit to them ultimately. But look, that's a long time ago, and I'm happy for Fizdale being out of that terrible mess that he had nothing to do with.
What do you think about the way New Orleans has kind of trusted Alvin Gentry to get through the difficult time with, you know, the David situation, but now with this younger team? I know as a coach, you like to see organizations, you know, trust a coach to get people through that rather than go the New York route.
Alvin's an excellent coach, and he's the right guy to develop that roster. I mean, you look at their stats in preseason when Williamson was playing and they had all their guys. I mean, they're putting up historic offensive numbers. You know, it was like really scary to watch them, and they got very unlucky, you know, with the injury to Zion, and he's going to be fine, and he'll be back and stuff. But in the meantime, he's doing a great job of developing these other guys. I mean, this guy Hayes, I don't even think he played the first game we played him, and now he's starting and he's lighting it on fire. I mean, Alvin's got a great touch with players and getting guys to play at a higher level, or a higher level than they believed that they could. I've seen it time and time again, and you know, that's a smart organization. Bottom line, and that's a long-term, you know, that's a long-term situation with a young team. Thanks.
Hey there, NBA fans. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe at Fanatics View down below.